How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Airport CEO and welcome back to Belfast City Airport. Things are going amazingly well at the moment. The airport is busier than it's ever been. We are richer than we've ever been. We're approaching $12 million, which is kind of wild. And if we look at our daily average, $714,000. We did $832,000 yesterday. And at one point between this episode and the last, I saw this number close to $1 million in a single day. So we are doing very, very well. But I'll tell you what's not doing very, very well. Security. Security is continuing to suffer and struggle with the number of people coming through here. I have experimented with a few different options for what I could do to solve this particular issue. And thus far, I have come up with nothing other than to potentially just expand security, just have more of it, which I think we're going to have to do. I think reasonably that's going to have to be the plan. And what I also thought about was maybe just duplicating the entire front of the building from here and putting it over here. Because these parking lots, they're great to have. They are useful, but we could theoretically get rid of them, duplicate check-in, duplicate security, duplicate just about everything except for baggage handling, and then just send half of these people into the other terminal. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if that's something that I'm willing to do yet, at the very least. I have some other ideas that might solve things a little bit. We might want to look into just adding another floor of security, and we do have some space up here. Obviously, we have this whole thing in the middle, but if we were to send some people upstairs even further into more security and then maybe turn some of this space into like an elevator that they can come down from to go into passport control, it's a whole lot of different levels and things like that, but it's definitely an option that would mean I don't have to get rid of parking lots, subways, and all that stuff, and then go and build an entire other extension to the terminal. We can just keep going up and down the way we have been. But that's not what I want to focus on today. I mentioned it in the last episode. It's what we're doing today. I want to come into this space and I want to start looking at getting myself a new terminal for helicopters. And I want to start by looking at my terminal area to make sure that this thing is really nicely and precisely defined here, because I'm going to be trying to push into a lot of this space and getting really close to this road over here. So I want to make sure that I'm really only having this as terminal 1 and this is going to be terminal 3, because the original terminal is still terminal 2. So that's the plan. That's what I'd like to get started. And so the way I think we're going to go ahead and do that is, I think, coming in here and trying to make something that's going to look sort of interesting. So let me get myself just a few parking lots if I can ever remember where these things are. So public parking lots, and I'm kind of thinking of doing this with them so that we have got a bit of distance from this main road. My only thinking on this is I don't know exactly where the building's gonna go. So let me do a parking lot right here. Let me do a parking lot right here. Let me leave a gap of 2 right about there. And let's do something like this. So we'll have the road sort of come down here, circle around, and head back out. We can do a building down here. I do want to have helicopters landing by this road over here if I can. So maybe it would be an idea to shuffle this over a little bit, just to give myself a little bit more room away from this building. And I think this will be pretty good here. So let's just bring some roads down in here. And do I want to do some kind of one-way system on this? I'm not really against doing some kind of one-way thing here. I think it might probably make some sense to do a little one-way system here. So I think that's what we'll go for. And we'll just mark this in as a one-way road, a little something like this here. So it just loops the entire way around. And I hope that's going to work the way I want it to, which I imagine it will. We can also turn these spaces into areas with sidewalks and all that good stuff. And I think that's actually what I'm going to do right away, is get myself a sidewalk that goes up to here and a sidewalk that goes up to about here. And then of course one that comes across down here so people can go from the road into the terminal building itself, or from the parking lots into the terminal building itself. I think we can also maybe do some sidewalks. Let's see. Let me just pave this entire area and then take out the middle part that I don't want, because that's going to make my life a little bit easier. And then we'll do this, and we will do this as well. I can get myself some crosswalks, and we'll go for a crosswalk here, 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 and here, and that'll let anyone get from these top parking lots down across here into the terminal as well, which is exactly what we're looking for. So let's just do a tiny little bit of detailing in these corners. Then we'll get into the terminal building. We'll start laying things out and hopefully getting this this helicopter terminal up and going in no time at all. Now, when it comes to the terminal itself, I really don't think it's going to need to be all that big. I really don't think we're going to need to use the entire width of the parking lots here. This is mostly here for decoration, and actually having the terminal be a little bit thinner is going to work really nicely for what I want to do here. So I am going to use planning mode for this, just simply so that I'm not building it immediately. I want to plan this out. I want to just use the space that I need and then nothing more. So to start with, let's do just a 20 by 20 box, and that'll be totally fine. Now, the entrances for this space can be right opposite the crosswalks right there and right there. And I'm kind of okay with the front of the building having quite a bit of space to it. I think that's probably fair enough. It'll make it look all modern and fancy and nice. It is a little hard to see exactly what I'm doing here with this layout, but I think those windows are pretty much positioned as good as they're going to be. We'll do the same thing here, and we'll do the same thing over on this side as well. So just a whole lot of glass on the front of this building. And then for the check-in space, I really don't think we're going to need much. I really don't. So we'll leave some space open at the sides, but I think when it comes to the entire thing, the middle of this, I think, is right about here, roughly, I mean, between where I'm putting the cursor right there. So what we can do is get ourselves some very basic check-in desks. We'll go for, I really don't know if we're even going to need a medium check-in desk. Unfortunately, it won't go central, so we're going to get 2 of these. And I think I am going to have them, I think, relatively close to the front, because we're really not going to be, I really can't imagine we're going to have all that many people coming through here. So we're going to do, I'm going to say 2 right there. I'm going to leave a gap of 3 and a gap of 3 on each side. We're going to do 4 of these. We'll have a bunch of self-check-in stuff as well, but we'll have 4 of these here. We'll get ourselves some hedges sort of going down between these guys, just because I can, really. That's about the only reason. We'll get some hedges going down on the outsides as well. The queues can be relatively small. I mean, yes, there are going to be 30-something people per small aircraft, but I mean, if the queue goes back, let's see, this is what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. We can probably get about 25 people in the queue for this thing before it starts to feel a little bit cramped. So we can use this. This'll be okay. Or I could move it back a little bit. Do I want to move it back a little bit? I think we'll move it back just 1. We'll move it back, let's see, from here to there. Should be totally fine. And we'll just bulldoze the ones at the front. And that'll give us enough space. That's almost more space than I want for this whole thing, but this should be okay. So a part of what I want to do with this entire construction is, like I said, kind of bit by bit, really only using the space that I need to use. So I'm going to chop out chunks of the terminal as we go along, and I'm going to try my best to make this as reasonable for a helicopter sort of terminal thing as I possibly can. So what I think I'm going to do is extend this security zone just a little bit. And I'm trying to think just how much security we're reasonably going to need for helicopters. And I kind of want to say that small security checkpoints are really all we would need. I kind of get that feeling that that's probably all we would want with this. I think I will go with the medium ones for 2 reasons. 1, they fit really nicely in this space. I can get 5 of them if I take out some chunks of wall over there, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So you're going to go away, you're going to go away, and we will just extend the security space like so. And then we can get rid of these walls here and here as well. And we can just sort of double it up a little bit. We can go a little bit wider like this and like this, and that's totally fine. That I'm sort of okay with that. It's a little bit of doubling up in the walls, but we're just trying to make this thing look sort of decent and like I've actually planned it out, like I actually have, you know, ideas for this whole thing. And I want to say that'll be enough. I want to say that'll be enough security for this entire thing. That might even be overkill. I'd be very tempted to bring this down to, in fact, I am really tempted to bring this down to just 3 security checkpoints, just so I can get this to be a little bit thinner, and then we can get some helicopters on either side of this thing. That might be the plan. That might be the play. In fact, I think that is going to be the play here. So we're going to take these walls back out, and I'm going to take this wall out of here as well. And what I'll do is come through here, and I'm going to just take away all the sections of terminal that I currently don't need. So that's everything up to about there, everything up to about there, and everything up to about there. We can go in, we can replace some walls just like so. In fact, what I could probably do is take out this entire section. We'll take out the midpoint here, which is still the midpoint, I think, of the entire thing. Yep, it absolutely is. This can be extended back, and this little staff area back here can just continue to be a little staff area. And that's kind of what this is going to be right in here. So that'll be fine. I do need to put some terminal back into... Actually, no, this little bit of terminal can go as well. Well, no, maybe that shouldn't go away. Maybe we'll do that because I can't actually get the I can't get the walls in there the way I would want them to if I don't have those sections of terminal. So what we'll do is bring the walls straight down here, I suppose, which still gives me that sort of awkward space here that I don't love. Maybe we bring this out. We'll do some of the smaller checkpoints on either side, and that'll be for staff. So staff can get through there nice and quickly. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. And then in terms of passengers, I'm going to filter them sort of into like a little central channel thing again. So this will just loop around really, really simply. And we can get rid of this extra security space for now, because the chances are a lot of that space is going to be secure. Now, something I have completely forgotten about, and that I probably shouldn't have completely forgotten about, is baggage handling and baggage claim. Now, baggage handling, I'm thinking, can probably just be its own building sort of out here. And then baggage claim is going to need a little bit of a terminal extension. So I think I'm going to extend the terminal right here and here, and that'll be totally okay. And I think I'm going to mirror that on the other side, except what I might do with the other side is go in and take out these bits of walls, which, I mean, to be fair, I need to do the same thing over here. And I actually need to make this wider because this needs to be a space that people can exit a secure zone. So this might be needing a little bit more of an extension, which annoys me. I don't love that I need to do this, but I suppose what we'll do is extend into these spaces here. I really don't like that that's a thing I need to do. And I really don't like that it messes up my entire plan, because now we have sections of wall here that I can't match with down here. It's just a whole thing, really. But what we can do potentially is, I suppose, turn this into a, well, this was going to be a bathroom over here, but I'm not really too sure what it's going to be now. I guess what we'll do is turn this space into something relatively secure. So what we'll do is have a wall come over like this and go up to about there. We can put our security exit in this little space, and then it loops around into baggage claim, and then they can come back out into the main part of the airport. So basically, I want to get myself a door, and I'm going to put that door right about there. And then for over here, we'll put a door right about here, and we'll do one right about there as well. Over on this side of things, it is slightly more complicated, but I think what I'd like to do is get myself some bathroom space here. So do we have a nice midpoint on this? We don't really. What distance is this? 19. So 9 and 9 is 18. So the 10th point here is our middle. So if I put a wall straight through the middle there, it gives us a door in the bottom left. It gives us a door space in the top right. That is just going to be a set of bathrooms. So one for the secure space, one for the check-in space. We have baggage handling over here, a nice security exit here. That actually works out kind of perfectly. And then this whole space is probably excessive, to be totally honest. So we can probably go in and take out some of this as well. And it's kind of just hit me that, oh, this isn't going to work. This is about to do a thing that I really dislike because of the way I've done the walls on the inside. The walls don't necessarily line up here, which is really frustrating. It has also hit me that I've done no measuring in terms of the size of the helipads. So I've got no idea if that's going to work either, which is going to be really fun to figure out. And I suppose we should probably get started with that. Let's have a look at the medium ones. They are enormous. They also don't fit in the middle there, which is a bit of a pain. How about the small ones? We could get one into the middle there, which is really annoying. So this mid space might end up being used. I guess it could be baggage handling. So to keep everything a little more confined. But what I'd like to do, I think, is I think a bunch of the smaller helicopters sort of alongside the terminal building seems kind of reasonable. I think we can get away with that. I think we could extend the terminal building down a little bit as well. Looking at this, it will absolutely work, I guess. I guess we'll go there. So we'll get 6 medium helicopters coming through, or small helicopters coming through. Let me go and just extend the terminal ever so slightly down to, honestly, down to there, and down to there should be fine. We can take out these chunks of wall as well. And then, yeah, this will just be our baggage handling space, which I think is perfectly reasonable. So if we have a look at our conveyor belts, we want to get ourselves one of these guys, which annoyingly is not going to fit in the middle. It's always off center. It's always off center. And I don't think there's any way I can actually make this thing fit in a way that's not going to just take up this entire space. So that's frustrating. That's really frustrating. Let me go and get some more terminal. And I guess we can also use this as like some staff space or something like that. It doesn't really matter. But what we'll do is we'll bring this out. We'll do 8 by 8. And then in the middle down here, take out these 2 sections of wall. We'll go back into conveyor belt systems, back into the baggage bay. And it has to be in a secure zone. We can absolutely do that. I'm kind of thinking of putting it sideways. I don't really think it matters. I think I am just going to have to put it like anywhere. It doesn't, it's going to have to go like here, I think. But let's get this into a secure zone first. We'll turn it into a staff zone in just a little bit. But for now, it's just going to be a secure zone. We'll go ahead back into conveyor belts, back into baggage bay. And yeah, really frustratingly, it's not going to go central, which I just wish it would. I just wish it would. Okay, so there's a slightly unfortunate thing that I've realized about this, which is that I currently have no room for remote stands. Well, I have no room for the bus stops for remote stands. So what I'm thinking I might do is get rid of these 3 stands over here. And I think we can put some buses into that space for people to come out to some remote stands. And I think we could get rid of this section of road. And I think we could go ahead and probably get rid of this section of road as well. And we could probably go ahead and expand our aircraft stands down here a little bit, because we have got quite a chunk of space to play with. So I think we could come down, was that 1, 2, 6 small helicopter stands. I'm sort of okay with that. I think that'll be totally fine. But what I think we can also do is have a look at the medium stands, because if I'm not mistaken, one of these guys is the size of 2 of the smaller ones. So if I was to sort of space these out a little bit, I could have the vehicles kind of come down around this new section of terminal across here and into these larger ones. They are admittedly, and maybe they should be the other way around. Maybe these should be against the building. But that's kind of my thinking for this whole thing. And I think I will put these guys against the building rather than sort of out there as remote stands, so that we're carrying smaller numbers of people out to the remote stands. And I'm almost inclined to say that I might do 4 of them. I think we'll do 4 right there. How many do we have in the other airport? What, 2? Yeah, so we're doubling the capacity of our medium helicopters. And then for the small ones, this will be great. This will give us room for 8 of them, which I am completely here for. So we'll give it a bit of space. I think what we'll do is a gap of 4 between all of these guys, and we'll just do a whole bunch of these guys coming down this way. That is not where I wanted it to go. So that right about there is going to be our helicopter space. So a big section of terminal coming down here. We'll have a road looping around it, going around these guys, probably down through the middle as well, just because I can. And then over here is where all the bus stops are going to be. I'm pretty sure that'll work. I'm pretty sure that'll be okay. There's still only 30-something people per medium helicopter, so I don't think security is going to get too overwhelmed by this. I think we'll be able to pull it off. So let me go ahead and do the final steps on the roads and the basic infrastructure. We'll get this thing built, and we'll see what we can do with it. I'm hoping for some good things. Okay, so I think this is more or less everything that we're going to need for now. We have the bus stops over here. We have a bunch of seating. I'm going to be connecting each of those out shortly. We have a garage. We have some refueling things here. We have avgas and jet A1 because I think the medium helicopters need jet A1 where the small ones need avgas. All of the baggage stuff is going to be handled underground, including baggage security. So it goes through security and up to the baggage bay, and then it comes back down here. And I probably could send it back through security. I don't think we need to. So it just cuts across here, goes underground even further, and then up into baggage claim right about there. The one thing I'm realizing I have totally forgot to do is set up some of the self boarding desks over here. So what I think I'll do is take out these chairs in the middle, and I'm going to take out these chairs in the middle, and I'm going to take out these chairs in the middle as well, because I'm kind of hoping I can put a bunch of the self-boarding desks or checkpoint things right into the middle of this whole thing. So let me have a little look at check-in desks. Actually, not check-in desks, boarding desks. We want the self-boarding gates. And I'm kind of hoping I can just get away with this, or that rather. I've also realized that the game does support the arrivals remote stands. I could have a little bit of fun with that if I really wanted to, and I might play around with that if the helicopter stands let you play around with it, which I hope they do. Now, let me just double check. This all has its security space. Back into desks and into boarding. Grab you, and we're going to do this and this. And we'll just see if that ends up being enough. I can't remember the exact details of how you connect boarding desks to stands. I think it's individually, so I might need more, but we'll be okay for the time being, is what I'm thinking we will be. Plus, we have to build everything anyway, so let me go into build planned objects mode. Let me make sure that we're paused while we do this, and if I go and cover this entire thing, that is 1.8 million for the upper floor, and then downstairs it is a further 299,000. So we're looking at about $2 million for this entire new terminal, which is, it's a lot of money. That is a lot of money, but I think this is going to be good. I think it's going to be good to get this together. I think we're going to have a really good thing going with the helicopters here, and I'm really excited to do it. We kind of just have to wait for it to get done. And I've also realized that there is ever so slightly going to be an overlap with my terminals here, which is kind of annoying, and I don't love that. I might, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can figure this out. I'm pretty sure if I start up here and I come all the way down like this, I'm pretty sure I can just lay this all out as terminal 3. Yeah. And then I just have to be careful with how I connect it to everything else, which should be easy enough. And you know, I've got to be honest, these guys are building this all a little quicker than I was expecting. Usually it takes a hot minute for them to make their way up to the top part of the map, but it's going really, really nicely. And the terminal has been laid out perfectly as well. So we're going to need to staff it, obviously. We're going to need to figure a lot of things out with this terminal, to be quite honest, but I'm excited about this. I'm really keen to start moving the helicopter flights from down here up to the new terminal. It is part of the process of phasing out this old terminal, which is a little bit sad. But like I said, I have some ideas for this. I have some plans for this. We have some things we can do with this. But phase 1 of this whole process is moving helicopters and then eventually medium and small flights up to this space. This thing down here, general aviation. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably just going to be a general aviation space, and that's okay. That, you know, GA flights, they need love too. Oh, I wasn't expecting this. We've already got some general aviation flights coming in here, which, I mean, fair enough. I'm not going to complain about it. I just wasn't expecting this. I completely forgot these guys will just land here and sort of chill. Apparently they do want refueling though, which is going to take a little while because we don't have any trucks out this way, and it might take a minute for me to get those out here. Although looking at it, we could just bring them in this way, which I suppose is fine. What are you complaining about? You have more than one vehicle checkpoint accessing this airport. Make sure they're connected to each other via a service road. They will be. They absolutely will be. I'll tell you what I think we should do though. Let me go ahead and just lay down a little bit of concrete underneath this building. And then underneath these guys as well, just so they look the part. And then I suppose what we should do is get ourselves some vehicles. So if we turn off the filters, we want to look at fuel. And I don't think we need to go too crazy on this. I think we can probably do 2 of each, and then they're not automatically assigned. So we'll get 2 Maverick fuel trucks for Avgas and 2 for Jet A1. They'll be in here in no time. We'll assign them here, and they can go ahead and start refueling all of the general aviation flights that'll be coming through here, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got the queues already set up for security in here. And I've also added this as a staff room area, as well as these 2 tiny little staff rooms over here and here. And what I might do is also assign a staff room or several to this space here. But first, let me look at my terminals. Let me go to you. We need 2 of you and 2 of you. And that'll keep this part of the airport relatively happy. We are going to need some airside shuttle buses. We have got 3 of them available. So you know what? 1, 2, 3 of them here. We are probably only going to need 4. I would imagine. I would say 1 bus can probably handle 2 of the small helicopter stands. We'll see how that goes, and we'll hope for the best on that. But I think that's probably where we're going to go to start with. In fact, let's just get another one right there, and we'll just set the 4 of them to this space and just hope for the best. We'll hope that it works. If it doesn't, we can get more of them. It's really not that big of a deal. Oh, now this is a little bit unfortunate, but it turns out that I can't connect all of my helicopter stands to this baggage bay. So these 2 at the top here are going to stay as general aviation so that we don't need to worry about that. The rest of these are all connected to this baggage bay already, which is fantastic news. And we're going to go ahead and get these self bag drops in the top left here connected down to it as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We can hold shift to select all of them and then connect all at once, which, by the way, it's something I've seen suggested in the comments a couple of times. A couple of people in Discord and on Twitter have mentioned that to me as well. I didn't know that, or I might have, but might have forgot about it. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but regardless, it was something that people were like, hey, this is a thing you can do. And it absolutely is. And I appreciate you letting me know that that is a thing that you can do, because it makes my life so much easier. It really does. It makes life so much easier just being able to like shift click a bunch of things, then connect them all at once instead of going back and forth and back and forth. It's a nice touch, and I'm glad that you're all paying attention, because apparently I'm not. Is what we'll go for there. That's apparently how that works. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing with these little stands down here. Get those connected out to the helicopter stands. So we get you 3 here, go to that helicopter stand, and then you 3 down here are going to go to that helicopter stand right about there. And that should make all of these functional. I want to say technically it makes them functional. We're going to turn you on. We're going to turn you on as well and connect you to the baggage bay. So technically this airport should now function. It just doesn't necessarily have the people that it would need to function, which is, I'm hoping that I can start to get more staff in here. We do have some staff in here. We just by no means have enough. We also don't have enough security in here. So let's just hire a bunch more security officers as well. And I'm hoping that they all go to the right airport. I'm hoping that they all come up this way. It's, yeah, the numbers aren't great, but I'm sure we'll figure it out is what we'll do. I'm sure we'll figure it out. So security officers right there, hire you and you, head back out. We'll get 2 more in here and we'll see how that goes. That's a start is what it is. That's definitely a start. Now for you guys, how are we going to set you up? So this guy, if I click on you, I can connect you to an airside shuttle bus stop there. And then I can connect you to, I have exactly 6 of these self check-in things and I have 6 stands that need connections. Oh, you know, that makes me happy. That makes my life so much easier. So you are going to go to this stand as well. And then you are going to go out to this guy. Yeah, this makes my life so much easier. All right, so it looks like the last thing we're going to need will be some service car stops, which totally makes sense. And I may or may not have totally forgot about the fact that we would in fact need some service car stops. I'm hoping we're not going to need that many, but I have my doubts that that's going to be the case. I'm fairly sure that we are in fact going to need a few of them. We're going to start small and then hope for the best is what we're going to do. So I'm going to do some service cars here and here, and we'll see how that goes. I'm pretty sure I can connect multiple stands to one service car stop, so it should be all right. And then what we'll do is get ourselves a small door for right about there, and a small door for right about, wait, can't be placed on roads. Oh, come on. Come on. What do you mean can't be placed? Get that out of there then. That's annoying, is what that is. But I can put it down here, which I guess is what we'll go for. So service car stop can go right about there, and I can just do a little regular old door here. In fact, no, I can't do it on the other side. Okay. So basically right there. And that should be fine. That'll work out the way I want it to. Let me just make sure that is staff only, which it is. That's staff only as well, which it is. So yeah, we'll get that all going. We are going to need some service cars now to make this all happen. So let's go for 4 of them. And again, we'll see if 4 of them ends up being enough. I really have no idea. I'm going to need some baggage cars as well, which I can't imagine are going to need to be huge. I would imagine I can get the small ones. And I think for this, we'll go for 6 of them. Just to be safe, we'll go for the 6 of them. Then looking in here, we've got the service cars. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. We should have, and we do have the baggage cars arriving. So we'll get all 4 of those, all 6 of those rather, into here. Apparently having trouble with avgas, which is a bit of a worry, but the rest of this looks okay. This looks like it'll work. And then I think staff is sort of just going to be the problem. So get more security, as we are always needing a little bit more security. Let me get more ramp agents, because we're always wanting good ramp agents, and then passenger service agents I'm hoping we're going to be okay with, because a lot of this is automated anyway, so it should be fine. Should being the key word right there. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case, but we will find out. A couple more people in there as well should be all right. And hopefully we'll get some security through here that can start to work these larger desks. Oh, and look at this. We've got people coming in here, checking in for the helicopters. We've got some security up and going. It's not quite where I want it to be, which is a bit of a pain, but it's some of it. And we have people coming through, doing their thing. They'll be going out to their helicopters in no time at all. This is absolutely fantastic. This is what we're looking for. Now, I will say, I don't think we are going to have all that much success with these helicopters at the moment, because obviously we don't have that many helicopter flights that come through the airport. So I think I'm going to do a couple of things. And I think one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the time between my flights to, I'm going to say 30 minutes. We're going to double the amount of time between our flights, because what I think that's going to do is it's going to help out the larger terminal anyway. It's going to put a little bit of separation between things. I mean, look at the number of people in here. And then if we go upstairs, I mean, it is wild. This security setup is not enough. Now, it probably will need to be rebuilt, but I think it's safe enough to increase the distance to double the distance between, or the time between helicopters. I can't get my words today. It's really annoying me. I think it's safe to double the amount of time between flights, because we're making so much money. We're back up to 13.3 million. We did 582,000 yesterday, and that's with a bunch of, construction expenses. Well, it's not that many. The point being that we're making ridiculous amounts of money, and despite the fact that we recently spent 2 million on this helicopter terminal, we are still at a daily average of what, 500,000? So we're doing all right. I think we can afford a few less flights here and there. And if anything, it might just make people happier being able to get through the airport without massive delays and without missing their flights. So yeah, I'm going to choose to believe that I'm doing the right thing. And then I suppose what I should do is come down here and just start getting rid of these other stands. We're going to cancel all the flights on these small stands that we have at the original airport, and it's kind of sad doing this. I'm not going to lie. It's a little sad starting to get rid of these guys, but I want to say it's going to be for the best. I want to say that it's, you know, it's part of the process. We're moving everything up to the northern part of the airport. What are the complaints in here? A person can't leave a secure. You know what? That seems like a you problem. That seems that seems like a skill issue, and not my problem in the slightest. So if these guys would hurry up and get out of here along with you, we can start to move things around. Boarding in progress for this one. There's 2 people getting on that helicopter. There are 14 getting on this one. There's 33 getting on this one. You know, I might have overdone it with the setup at the new terminal, but I'm okay with that. It's not so bad. There we go. Let's get this closed as well. That'll move all those flights up north as well. This guy is about to leave, and I'm sure we've got a bus coming down here to load this one up as well. So let's get this one closed as quickly as we can and cancel all of those flights. And this is the bus coming in to load you up, which is fantastic. So this one is, I would assume, going to be out of here momentarily. So I'm just reading here about my airport's rating, and it seems that whenever baggage is rejected by a tier 1 scanner, what the airport wants you to do is route that through a tier 2 scanner. And then if rejected by a tier 2 scanner, it goes through a tier 3 scanner. So this setup that I have going on here is objectively incorrect, if I'm reading that right. Basically, if this thing accepts the baggage, it should send it through. It's fine. If this thing rejects it, it should go through tier 2 security. If these guys approve it, it's fine. Let it go. If these guys reject it, send it through tier 3, which is why we're seeing that my tier 3 security, if we look at the overall rating here, tier 3 is fine, because anything that's suspicious by a tier 2 scanner goes through tier 3 regardless. This stat will decrease if baggage that is accepted by a tier 2 scanner then goes through a tier 3 scanner. I'm assuming that makes sense. So long story short, I need to set this up differently, which is slightly frustrating, but that's okay. It's fine. And I mean, long story shorter, I'm gonna need to redo all of my security to make this slightly more effective, but we can tear this all apart. Basically anything that this guy accepts goes. Anything, I don't know. This to me is objectively subjectively, I guess, the most secure way of doing things. You know, it's like, hey, it goes through every single possible scanner. We're not missing anything. If we reject it, it goes into a manual scan. If it's approved, it goes to a manual scan. It's fine. So I guess what that means is that we want to go in here and say that anything coming out of here is going to hit a high-speed conveyor belt. It's going to come all the way out to the edge of the room, and it is going to go all the way across once the game is done saving. This is starting to feel like Transport Fever with these autosaves. And we'll bring this around to this spot, and in it goes, which is completely fine. I think this thing's going to need to go away as well. So anything approved by this guy gets fast-tracked and goes out to the helicopter. Anything that this guy rejects is then going to go into a tier 2 scanner, which I think is fair enough. So we want to set all of these guys up just in a very, very simple row. I'm not going to bother sort of spacing all this out the way I usually do. So we want to get the explosives scanner. We want to get the drugs scanner. And then we want to go in and get ourselves the money scanner as well. So basically what happens at this point is anything that comes out of this guy goes to these guys. If these guys all approve of it, then it will go forward and be put on the aircraft, which I guess is fair enough. And then these guys, if they reject anything, we want to bring it into a manual scanner, which is pretty much the same process. So we'll go and set up a manual scanner right about here. And what we can do is get ourselves some of the regular conveyor belts, bring it up this way, bring all of these guys over as well. And if this guy approves of everything, then it hits one of these conveyor belts and it goes out and leaves and gets put on the aircraft. If we reject something at this point, it then gets destroyed, which, I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? That's kind of what we want to do. So that, I think, is what the game is telling me to do with the baggage scanning and all that good stuff. And I think what I'm going to do is ever so slightly change this little layout here just because I can. I think what we'll do is bring this sort of down and around the destroyer thing just because I can, because it gives us something a little bit more interesting looking, down to about here and straight across to there. And I think we can also get rid of these guys just to speed up that entire process. Okay, so now by the looks of it, we've had a bag that's been rejected by the tier 1 scanner, but has made it all the way through the tier 2 scanners and gets loaded onto the aircraft. We have another bag coming through that's been rejected by a tier 1. It has made it through and is being loaded onto the aircraft as well. I don't know that I like this. I feel like my system was much more, not efficient necessarily, but a lot more secure. But I have gone ahead and changed up the main section of this new airport as well to have the same system. So bags come through. If they get approved by the tier 1 scanner, then away they go. They're totally fine. This thing also apparently has, you can relocate, you can activate or deactivate, you can rename it, and you can change the color. Okay, well, yeah, we knew all of that. Long story short, this is hopefully going to be a little bit more efficient, or hopefully the approval is going to be better anyway. And I mean, if we look down here, yeah, we're now up to 72% of baggage being correctly scanned in tier 2 scanners. So my general approval rating for the airport should go up. I haven't bothered to change how things work down in this airport yet. And the reason I haven't done that is mostly because of how this whole thing is set up. I don't know that I necessarily have the space to do what I would like to do here. I probably do. I probably reasonably do have the space to do what I would like to do here, but I don't want to rebuild. This was such a pain to get working in the first place. I think realistically moving it underground would probably make a lot more sense, but I'm not going to do that right now because I like to think that things have gone pretty well. We have a couple of large, well, medium helicopters on the stands right here. We have some people just sitting around chilling, waiting to get on board those medium helicopters. We have a bunch of small helicopters out here doing their thing, and hopefully that's all going well. I think I don't know if this one has been refueled yet. I'm also realizing that we probably don't have enough passenger service agents coming out here now that I think about it. There's how many passenger or ramp agents rather do we have at this? 6 of them. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. That is by no means going to be anywhere close to enough. I don't like that we're hiring a bunch that are not all that highly skilled, but I'm starting to notice that my options aren't all that great when it comes to hiring new people. So we'll get 13 of them in here, and that's going to be a start at the very least. It'd be nice to bring that number up kind of considerably though. I'm actually kind of wondering how many, oh my God, the game's really struggling when I zoom out like that. Can I see how many we have over here? We have 49. Let me bring that down a little bit to 45. And let's try and put a bunch of those people into this other terminal as well. And while we're dealing with things that I ever so slightly messed up, turns out I forgot to put some crossings in here so people can't actually get from these little stands over to the airport. I'm pretty sure they can do it now. At least they might be able to if I just go ahead and continue the secure zone between the airport and the stands right there. That was a little bit of a mix-up is what we'll call that. Just a little bit of a mix-up. Can they now get out of there? There we go. So now they can get out. Now they can cut through here. We are hopefully going to see this whole space working the way it should be. We have a lot of bags just sitting there. That's a lot of bags for departures as well, which is a bit of a worry. How many baggage cars do we have right now? 1 baggage bay. We have 6 baggage cars, which apparently isn't enough. We don't have enough avgas either, which is interesting. And we don't have enough. Okay, we don't have enough of anything is what I'm noticing. So let me get 2 more or 1 more of each of those, maybe some more baggage trucks as well. I just want this thing to work. That's kind of the goal here. Give me, honestly, just 4 more of those should be totally fine. Hopefully we don't need more than that. Give me one of you, and that'll hopefully be all right as well. And what else were we struggling with? The service cars. I guess we can get some of those too. So give me 2 more of those, and we'll see how that goes. And once all that stuff gets here, we can assign it to this terminal and just hope for the best. It's looking all right though. I've got to be honest. It's functioning. It's not crazy busy, but it was never gonna be, and that was sort of the idea. So let's get a little bit more baggage stuff in here, just like so. Get some more service cars in here, and we should have the new fuel trucks arriving, which is fantastic news. And I think that was about everything. I'm pretty sure that was about everything. It looks like we're sort of doing okay. That's not the button I wanted. So I guess we'll just let this go. We'll sit back and see how it turns out. I might want to get some shops in here at some point as well, but I think this is good. I like this. I want some lights out front and some decorations, but for now, this is good. We've moved the helicopters from the old airport to the new space. We have a lot of empty space that we can expand into with different things here and there if we absolutely need to, but I am happy with this for the time being. And you know, I've got to say, zooming out and looking at all this is pretty cool. It's an absolute mess is what it is, but it's also pretty cool. Just this whole thing moving around and knowing that there's like thousands of passengers just navigating this entire thing. It's very, very cool, and I'm really happy just looking at this entire thing. It's also nice seeing all of these helicopters in here. I'm really, really enjoying that little detail, just seeing all the vehicles going around doing their thing, knowing that this thing is slowly coming together. It could use some shops, it could use a little bit more detailing, but it's come together, and it kind of has the vibe that I was looking for with the dedicated helicopter terminal. It's basic, really, right? You just have a small check-in space, a little bit of security, and then you really don't need much out in the departures space. Just a couple of seats, get in your helicopter, and away you go. It's not really as luxurious as I was hoping it was going to be. That was something I kind of had in mind for this, was making it feel a little bit more fancy, but I think we're a bit limited in Airport CEO for, I guess, the aesthetics of things. And just while I say the word aesthetic, I'm going to get up in my soapbox here. I'm going to wrap things up in just a moment, but I'm going to get up in a soapbox real quick, because the aesthetic is a word that annoys me so much because it is used wrong. And yes, this is going to come across as elitist and gatekeeping, whatever you want to call it what you like. But I'm going to tell you right now, so many people, I'm not going to say the majority, but an alarming number of influencers use the word aesthetic wrong, and it really, really bothers me for some reason that I cannot articulate. But I'm just going to say it. A thing cannot be aesthetic. You've probably heard people that, you know, they get in their on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram, and they'll be like, I found these completely useless things on Amazon that are going to revolutionize your life and change things in the kitchen forever. Oh my God, they're so aesthetic. That's not the right use of the word aesthetic. A thing can be aesthetically pleasing. A room can be aesthetically pleasing, but a room in itself is not aesthetic. You can describe the aesthetic of a room. You describe the aesthetic. The room itself is not aesthetic. That's not what the word means. That's not how you use that word. And I will not roll over and be like, oh, it's just the development of the English language. It now means something else. No, it's wrong. That's not what's happening with this word. It's people that have heard the word once and gone, I'm going to use that forever to describe everything that I think looks cool. That's not what the word aesthetic means. I can describe, for example, if I go, I don't know, over here, this room is not aesthetically pleasing. That's the correct use of the word in a sentence. To sit here and say this room is so not aesthetic, it doesn't mean that's not how it works. Okay. I almost tweeted this a couple of hours ago, and I just know exactly what's going to happen. It's probably no better to say it. It just bothers me. It just bothers me. Don't even get me started on people that are like, it's giving what? Like, giving what? Finish your sentence. Or like, you know, finish the sentence properly. Like, it's giving thing is not a sentence. It's giving thing vibes is a sentence. You know what? This is why I don't make YouTube shorts, and this is why I'm not on TikTok, and this is why I don't browse TikTok, because it's brain rot. Anyway, moving on. Let's leave it there for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute aesthetic as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.